Hey, hope you're double great. Today I'll be talking about episode 5 of DTF St. Louis. I'll be focusing more on character development and emotional gravitas this episode, exploring further into two relationship dynamics, one involving our detectives and the bulk being the trio we've watched for the last 4 hours. These are important elements to consider when watching because of how they develop as we learn more of the bigger picture. The emotional aspect is especially important because it shows us what we haven't seen up to this point. Homer is evolving in his working relationship with Jodie, and Clark, Carol, and Floyd's relationship isn't as simple as ethical non-monogamy or polyamory among 3 consenting parties. They present as one relationship in this episode, but we come to learn there are at least 4. Timestamps are in the description. I'm Ed, and this is Waffle Looks. While I think the trio is the main focus this episode, you can't ignore Homer and Jodie. Homer's growing maturity and broader perspective are changing how he interacts with Jodie. The equilibrium between them is stabilizing. Instead of addressing her as Twyla, he calls her detective as a form of respect now. He tells her a bit about his history, working primarily in Chicago for 26 years, then St. Louis for 10. Assuming that suburban cases have to be simple, he's learned otherwise. Admitting this had to be a big step for him. He's improving as the story progresses to where he wondered where the second bike was. I was surprised to be hearing this from him because this seems like something that Jodie would have picked up before this point. He's finally seeing her for her expertise, and she is earning his trust in her instincts. They're actually working as partners, which was pretty cool to see. Earlier I stated that there are 3 people involved in this affair, but at least 4 relationships. So to break it down, 1. Floyd and Carol's relationship where she is his caretaker and assumes a motherly and guardian role. 2. Floyd and Clark representing the honeymoon phase of a beautiful and blossoming friendship similar to that of a brotherhood. 3. Carol and Clark's relationship, a honeymoon-esque summer love. 4. All of them as a unit. This episode marks the first time we've seen them all together, revealing new information and requiring transparency. At first, this episode frames their relationship as ethical non-monogamy. However, that idea comes undone because Amy isn't part of the agreement. Her consent is essential for this dynamic to function ethically. Assuming the scenes are chronological, it begins with Floyd's conversation with Clark regarding technique, and segues into what Floyd really wants to talk about. He wants them to be DTF with their own respective wives to restore the dynamics of their marriage so Floyd can get full on. After requesting amphazine, Clark asks how the medication would affect him. He frames it positively, but notes that taking too much could be fatal. Floyd then shifts the topic by asking Clark what he finds beautiful about Carol, as though he has trouble seeing those traits in their day-to-day lives. He wants to see Carol through Clark's eyes, and it's causing him pain to think about all the changes in their relationship dating back from his injury all the way up until now. As this is the first time we've seen Floyd and Carol speak openly about getting back to what they used to have, he asks if she thinks it would be possible, but she doesn't answer directly. He wants his own dream meeting with her at the Quality Garden Suites, where his dream is simply just to be there with her again. She responds warmly, looking fondly at him as the man that she fell in love with. However, Floyd has one ask which shifts her demeanor. Clark comes from inside the house to join them, and asks if Clark can watch them be intimate from inside the closet. Effectively, he's requesting to switch roles with Clark. As Carol remains silent, Floyd feels emotionally cornered and over-explains what he's asking for and why. Noting that he and Clark already discussed his feelings, and perhaps realizing the mistake of not talking privately with Carol first. He physically withdraws by leaning back, visibly uncomfortable with what he's about to say, because he'd hoped for a discussion to be had, but you can't have a discussion with someone who is reluctant to speak. Being the expressive and vulnerable person that he is, Floyd confesses that the experience hasn't always been easy for him, reiterating that he thought that they were all in this together, only then to realize that he was never actually a part of it. He acknowledges that he suffers from low self-esteem, feeling small and insignificant. Unexpectedly, he suggests it might actually be good for Clark to watch, perhaps projecting his own insecurities or reclaiming his role as her husband. As Clark notes, this is how a normal person would feel. However, his delivery is not convincing. It's clear neither of them know how to respond, as Floyd was a consenting adult in this agreement. In this moment, Floyd knows he has no control over their emotions or their actions. He can only openly express his feelings and hope they don't fall on deaf ears. In the previous episode, Christopher's recess analogy applies directly to this situation. Recess offers a break from life stressors just as the summer affair provided a temporary escape for Clark and Carol. Recess and summer breaks fly by when you're having fun, and Floyd's experience has likely felt like an eternity by contrast. His meeting with Carol is the school bell. Recess is over, and it's time to return to our regularly scheduled program. Not because of the institution of education, but because of the emotional ringing in Floyd's heart. Whether they will heed the call is entirely dependent on their respect for him. Closing out of the scene, Floyd offers to get them some lemonade and goes to the kitchen to get some. Carol and Clark don't speak a word to one another, and Floyd returns to reveal they don't have lemonade mix, sugar, or even lemons, highlighting their financial strain and how it weighs on Carol. Overall, I didn't know what to expect over the course of this episode. I expected Floyd to be consenting to the affair, however, I didn't expect him to be involved in it from its inception. Floyd's story on how he got his curve was the perfect break between the emotional roller coaster of this episode in exchange for a roller coaster of expectations. Ultimately, it seemed important to illuminate the complexity of these relationships and how challenging it can be to navigate them. On that note, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the afternoon spray.